wife, a son.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is still days away from its wide release, but critics have already seen it, and the reactions are honestly kind of incredible. I'm seeing words like masterpiece, astonishing, and one of Nolan's best work ever being thrown around. So today, I want to break down exactly what critics are saying, what surprised me the most, and whether I think The Odyssey is living up to the enormous hype.
I think it's asleep.
When I started reading through the early reactions, one thing became very clear. People aren't just saying the movie is good, they're saying Christopher Nolan may have delivered another cinematic event. That's a big statement, especially when you're talking about the director behind films like The Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and Oppenheimer. Every new Nolan movie comes with sky-high expectations, so I honestly expected at least a more divided response. Instead, the first wave of reactions has been overwhelmingly positive. Many critics are describing the movie as emotionally powerful, visually breathtaking, and unlike anything else playing in theaters. No, I always like to wait until I see a movie myself before deciding how I truly feel about it. But I also think it's interesting to look at these early reactions because they can give us a glimpse into what audiences might be in for. And so far, the excitement seems very real. One thing I've noticed though over and over again is just how much praise that Matt Damon is receiving for his performance as Odysseus. Some critics are even saying this could be one of his best performances of his entire career, and that's really saying a lot. Matt Damon has delivered some incredible performances throughout his career, so seeing critics single him out this consistently definitely caught my attention. From what I'm reading, he apparently brings both the physical strength and emotional depth needed for a character like Odysseus. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear because this story isn't just about action, it's about survival, it's about loss, it's about determination, and if the lead performance isn't convincing, none of that really works. Luckily, it sounds like Damon delivers. If there's one thing Christopher Nolan is known for, it's making movies that absolutely demand to be seen on the biggest screen possible. And according to critics, The Odyssey might be the most visually impressive movie yet. That's honestly saying something. This is the same filmmaker who gave us the rotating hallway in Inception, the docking sequence in Interstellar, and the practical effects in Oppenheimer. Critics are talking about massive practical sets, stunning IMAX photography, and sequences that feel genuinely epic in scale. One thing I've always appreciated about Nolan is that he tries to capture as much as possible in camera instead of relying entirely on CGI. For me, that usually makes the world feel more believable. And based on these early reactions, it sounds like that approach has paid off once again. No, I don't want to make it sound like every single review is calling this the greatest movie ever made. There are a few critics who have mentioned that the movie's pacing is uneven in places. Some felt the opening takes a little while to find its rhythm. Others thought certain parts were a bit dense, which honestly isn't unusual for a Christopher Nolan movie. If you've seen enough of his films, probably know that he doesn't always make the easiest movies to follow on a first watch. Sometimes that's part of the experience. Even so, what's interesting is that many of those same critics still ended up loving the overall film by the time the credits rolled. So while it may not be perfect, the general consensus still seems incredibly positive. This is always the interesting part. Whenever early reviews come out, I think it's important not to assume they're automatically right or automatically wrong. Sometimes critics and audiences agree completely, other times not so much. That's why I always like to keep an open mind. Personally, these reactions have definitely made me even more excited to watch The Odyssey, but I'm still going to go into the theater wanting to form my own opinion. I still think that's the best way to experience any movie. At the end of the day, your opinion is the one that matters the most. So those are some of the biggest things critics are saying about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey so far. The reactions have been overwhelmingly positive. Matt Damon is earning a ton of praise. The visuals sound absolutely incredible, and many critics believe Nolan may have another classic on his hands. Now, it's time to see if audiences end up feeling the same way. But I want to hear from you. Are these early reactions making you even more excited for The Odyssey? Or are you waiting until you see the movie to decide for yourself? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more movie reviews and discussions, and I'll see you in the next one.